Okay, guys. I know it's late. It's well in Toronto, Canada. It's past midnight. It's almost 1 a.m. So this is not the story of OJ, like that rap song. This is the story of Ron and Nicole Simpson, right? Who are the victims in the OJ Simpson trial. So here's the story. Let me set the world for you. Part there's most of LA shops at TJ Maxx for the most part. You know what I'm talking about, right? Come on. The real part of LA that's like mid America shops at TJ Maxx. And they probably work in an office park, like an office in an office park. Right. And in front of the office there's probably a bus station, or you might, drive in. Right. Suburban, middle class people who shop at TJ Maxx. There's a part of LA, right? There's sort of like space. That's like literally Versace all the time. And I don't mean t-shirts and stuff. I'm talking about like Versace all the time, right? Always Versace. Right. Right. And so there's this little space in LA that's always Versace all the time, always fabulous, all right? And they have, maybe some of them have regular sounding jobs. Like I'm the shift manager, or I'm a restaurant manager, or I'm a bartender. And yet, unlike other restaurant managers in the rest of LA who shop at TJ Maxx, these ones are driving like Porsches, right? And it's always a friend of theirs. Let me this Porsche, right? Always wearing Armani custom fit suits, even though they're just a manager at the Cheesecake Factory, just like the other Cheesecake Factory manager. And yet, in this little space, the same manager at the Cheesecake Factory drives a Lamborghini his friends lent him for the rest of his life, wears Armani suits and alligator boots. Right? It's kind of like that, right? It could be. It could be. And you know what? If somebody told you that lie, and they're like, listen, I'm a manager, and last night Elton John had his birthday party here, and I made 20 grand in tips. You would believe it, wouldn't you? You would. Anywhere else, it's unbelievable. But if you were a restaurant manager, or if you told somebody, right, look, I'm a restaurant manager, and last night Elton John had his birthday party, and I made $20,000 in tips. You believe it, no problem, right? That's not part of LA. That's kind of weird. And yet, the rest of LA shops at TJ Maxx and stuff, right? And works in offices, right? But there's that part that's kind of weird. So here's the story of Ron and Nicole, right? So let's get back to that dude, right? He tells you he's a manager at Cheesecake Factory in Beverly Hills. And last night, Elton John had a big bash there, and he made $20,000 in tips. Unlike every other Cheesecake Factory outlet in America, this one guy made $20,000. Or at some other restaurant, right? Whatever. What restaurant? Some hip restaurant where Elton John would have his birthday party. This manager, this head bartender, whatever he is, makes $20,000 in tips. Unlike the manager at every other restaurant in LA. What is it, Rube? Is he dealing coke? No. There's this thing in LA that's so funny. You hold a bag for somebody for a week or 2 weeks until it gets picked up. You'll make 20 grand. Just hold it. You don't even have to deal it, right? You don't even have to fucking even break it open. You just hold it in your basement, in your rafters, and for just holding it. Okay, not 20 grand, maybe 5 grand, right? Each time you hold it. You don't even have to open it. So it's what it's called is it's a victimless crime. And it's so easy to make money. But it's totally victimless. Like, I don't even know technically what's inside the bag. Seriously, I don't. Right? It's totally victimless. And once again, it's this space in Los Angeles that's totally fucking weird. It's kind of like, like the Pope of Greenwich or a desert saint, in some place that's just a desert and everybody is dusty. There's some guy driving a Cadillac with custom-made boots and a beautiful white cowboy hat. And it's just weird as shit, right? It's drugs, right? So this part of LA is just full of saints and popes. You know what I mean? They got regular sounding jobs, but they drive like borrowed Lamborghinis and wear custom-made suits all the time. And it's so easy to believe. Because last night they hosted a party for Elton John. And then the week before it was Steven Spielberg and all that. And every week they're making tips like $5,000 in tips. Right. It's just crazy. But really what they're doing is just holding cocaine. Right. But they're not even opening the bag. They're just holding it. So what happened is, and I'm saying it's a victimless crime in this weird vacuum of a space, right? Somebody gave such a bag to Nicole. So here's a story, right? Here's my own story, right? What happened was somebody started giving such a bag to Nicole to hold. Because now she's divorced from OJ, right? And OJ comes out of this story a total patsy, right? A total patsy, or else he'd be dead by now. So she's divorced from OJ, right? And she's divorced. She's just her network of friends in this space. Somebody gives her a bag, and for that, they give her $5,000 in cash. Don't open the bag. Don't do anything. I'm just gonna put it here, right, in your house, in this corner. Don't touch it. I'll come back for it. Right. 5 grand done. Somebody's been giving her that bag for a little bit of time. But it's like cocaine, right? Part of the cocaine network. And then these sort of like overlords realize, these executives of the cocaine trade realize, wait a minute, you've been giving a bag to like the ex-wife of O.J. Simpson, who is a national star. Like, do you know what the fuck we do? This guy's on commercials for Avis. He's at the White House sometimes. Everywhere he goes, he's shaking hands with police officers. And you just give him a black bag to his ex-wife. Do you know what the fuck we do? So, they sent an assassin, right? An assassin. So the guy shows up, right? Shows up in overalls. Looks like he's from the city with a clipboard. Looks around her house. Maybe even talk to her. Goes, she goes, "Hey, what's wrong? What's wrong? Is something wrong with my house? What's going on?" "Oh, just a routine check." But she's a little freaked out by this creep, but she really can't do anything because he's wearing a city uniform. So she calls the restaurant. Maybe she calls the restaurant. She goes, "Hey, I talked to maybe Ron. Can I talk to one of your, can you send one of your guys over or something like that?" A restaurant that's friendly to her. Somehow, for whatever reason, they get Ron come over just to keep her company while this creep from the city checking her house out, like gas lines, whatever. Many reasons the city can walk up to your house and look around. So Ron's there at the door, and I say somebody jumped out of the bushes. Now I thought about this. Can you be crouching in the bushes and like the bushes on the other side of your house and you don't see anybody? What kind of fucking bushes are these? And what the fuck kind of clothes are you wearing? Right? Like you got branches all over you or something? Like it's next to impossible. No matter who you are, you gotta be a tiny little midget. Like literally this big, right? As you see some guy just crouching there. The minute you walk up the gates, right? So he's not really jumping out of bushes. He's more like coming around the corner as soon as Ron and Nicole are at the front door. And remember, he's a professional assassin in a city uniform with a clipboard. Goes, "Hey, you live here?" He goes, "Yeah, I live here. I found something wrong in your house. You have to sign this order so we can come and fix it later." He approaches them, slashes their throat, leaves the glove, and walks away. Why? Because some guy handed Nicole a bag to keep. And they realized it was Nicole Simpson, a famous woman. Well, famous enough, right? Right. So, what do? They don't tell this guy to shut up. They don't tell him to change. They don't do that stuff. They just kill them. And then they walk away. To this day, the murderer has not been caught. Right? Right. To this day, the murderer has not been caught. O.J. Simpson, total fucking patsy, right? Right. The dagger, the question mark, is hanging over O.J. Simpson's head, right? But really, the real killer has not been caught. I'm saying the real killer, totally a professional hitman. And it's because some idiot used Nicole to hold a bag, which in this sort of space in LA is both a victimless crime and also very easy cash. And that is the story of Ron and Nicole. OJ, total patsy, or else he'd be dead by now. So if you look around, who else might be dead? Might be a manager at some hip restaurant, might be dead. Might be a restaurant owner, might be dead. Someone like that. It's got a decent job, manager, but seriously, what kind of manager of Chipotle drives a Lamborghini and wears Armani all the time? But there's this excuse, which is Elton John's birthday party, and next week Steven Spielberg's movie, and then we got to that Oscar party. I'm making like 20, 30,000 in tips. Right, that's the excuse. So that's my story of the Ron Nicole story. Off by, killed by a professional hitman because they were part of this node, this sort of passive, victimless crime activity of just holding bags until they're picked up again. Okay? Okay. See you guys later. Bye bye. Pass it on. It's cool.